Back, this is eNCA. We are live to you from Nasrec at the Nasrec Expo Center on day 4 of the ANC's 55th National Conference. The main top leadership has been elected. A few surprises here and there, but also confirmation of the ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa retaining his position. Paul Mashatile comes in as his deputy president of the ANC. Now they've moved into the ANC, that is, moving to discussing issues of policy. What needs tweaking, what needs changing, what needs more emphasis in terms of policy and implementation and the running of government, as well as the running of the ANC itself to try and strengthen the ANC itself. All of this they'll be doing while trying to constitute the rest of the National Executive Committee of the ANC. So that is what the focus will be. And of course, the conference ending tomorrow with a declaration and the closing statement address by the president of the ANC. Let's bring in Professor JJ Tabane into this conversation then. JJ, I don't know how many times you have been on before I arrived here, but I will, because I'm that kind of person, I will hold you to account. Yesterday, you had pretty much written the post-mortem of the ANC president. You and Lukwana were sitting here with me. And you were saying that, you know, it's not looking good. And saying that he will be, it will turn out that he is the architect of his own downfall.
Yeah, I think it's more Lukwana. You must blame him more. I was a bit more measured.
because he's not here.
I was basically saying, if the Zweli Mkhize slate wins, we are in trouble. I was not mincing my words about that. But I was equally saying, if the Cyril Ramaphosa slate wins, the ANC could still be in trouble, because half of that slate, as it is with the other slate, are going to be in court. You know, Nomvula with their chickens must still answer to the State Capture Commission, or rather the Integrity Commission about the State Capture outcome. You know, so there's a sense in which the ANC is in a conundrum either way. But as everybody has been saying throughout the day, it was about the better devil. Who do you pick? You know, at least I don't have to leave the country, because if Zweli made it, maybe I would have had to leave the country after calling him corrupt. But that's a different matter altogether, not for your show. I'll deal with it later on tonight. Right? So it's an outcome that, like I said in 2017, is a relief for most. The rand strengthened 2%. It's not something small, right? And there's a sense in which, despite a cloud hanging over his head, it looks like the renewal agenda has been endorsed. Right? And I liked what I think it was the Minister of Police said when he was here talking to Braden, that the things that he said, which we thought he wouldn't say because he's himself you know, under question through the Palapala and so on, was good, because it also involved him. It says anybody who has a case to answer must answer it. Right? What does this mean? This means that if for some reason the Palapala thing doesn't go well with the other agencies that are investigating, whether it be the Public Protector or SARS or Reserve Bank or whatever, he may have to step down earlier than he thought. In other words, then Paul Mashatile becomes
our president,
in pole position to be our president. And part of what we were saying yesterday was that Lamola and Maboyane, nobody was looking at them as an ex-president. They were happy to say, let them be deputy.
So the position of deputy president was that consequential? There was that much riding on it at this conference? Because it's one breath away from the presidency.
Absolutely. And it looks like now it's becoming a tradition that the deputy president, people will always blame them about having their foot on both camps. Right? You remember what happened with David Mabuza? Nobody saw him coming, because, you know, closer to the conference, then he was able to deliver votes from both camps. And I think this is what happened here pretty much. Right? I'm told that at the last minute, like we saw with Pulemabe and Muzandile, they wanted Lamola to do the same. Right, and say I'm throwing my weight,
and Oscar Maboyane is the person to back.
Oscar was hard pressed not to blame him for having lost the deputy president, because if you look at them, the margins, if all of those votes of Lamola went to him, he would have made it. Because the gap was not so wide between him and Mashatile. So Lamola took a chunk of what could have gone to Mabuya, and they're from the same slate, so to speak.
In all of this that we are saying then, JJ,
Yeah.
this is just the top 7 leadership. As you and
Yeah.
I know, the officials, as they are called,
Yeah.
are powerful
Yeah.
in the ANC, but power really rests with the National Executive Committee, does
Yes.
it not? That's where, if you are a president facing questions about para and monies under a mattress
Yeah.
or a sofa, that's where you appear immediately after the public protector has
Yeah.
delivered a report, immediately after another investigating agency, SARS,
Yeah.
whoever is still seized with this matter. That's where you appear next.
Yeah.
And you face all 80 of them, 85,
Yeah.
whatever the number is that comes up to close to 90. How much then is riding on the composition of the NEC?
Yeah. Look, usually, and this has happened on a number of conferences, maybe one or two exceptions. Usually, if there's a slate firmly entrenched in the top 6, like we've seen now, I mean, it's 5. That Ramaphosa slate is 5 out of 7. It's almost the whole slate, the whole top 7 in this case. Right? The people who voted that way, meaning that slate is going to also want to make sure that top 6 doesn't get frustrated by an NEC that would be from another slate. So please don't have too many hopes that the NEC will be so mixed that you don't know whether it's fish or fowl.
Yeah.
That slate won't make that mistake. They've made that mistake before, they're not going to do it. It's like, if you look at the Republicans and the,
yes,
and the Democrats fighting over who has the executive, who has the legislature.
Yes.
Right? Oftentimes, if the president doesn't have the support of this body, the government could even be shut down. You've seen number of
occasions. That becomes a lame duck situation where you have the presidency, but you don't have...
No. At this point, the Ramaphosa can't afford that.
Yeah.
You know that we don't even have to write the big thesis about how indecisive he has been. Right? But now all the excuses are gone.
Yeah.
He's got a strong top 6, and he has a responsibility now to be involved in making sure that the type of NEC he gets is strongly in his favor. He's not saying it must be purely the slate.
But reports were suggesting that he was disengaged, I think is the word.
Maybe we got
disengaged in terms of the campaigning and directly speaking to people.
Maybe he fooled us because what Lamola has considered is that he received a call, which he defied.
Yes.
He received a call to say step down, which he defied. So if for a non-engaged person, I don't think he would have made a call like that. So I think we were just fooled by this operator
idea that
is a top negotiator of the
that he
Constitution.
was crisscrossing the country and the world and leaving the campaigning to
he gave us
his generals.
Yeah, but I mean, do you believe him really that he doesn't know who funded him, for example? He knows. He can lie to us about it, but he knows. But he has a sophisticated way of doing it.
JJ, speaking of taking long to make decision or being indecisive, I know you accuse me of being too much of a gentleman.
Yeah, you're too nice.
So whichever you take, indecisive,
Yeah.
taking forever to make decisions, do you expect that tone to start changing in the context of everything that transpired coming to this conference? And let me add to that question that the question is not about punishing people for opposing you, but it's about some of the tone that sort of characterized the build-up to this conference, the engagement with the Section 89 panel report.
Yeah, you see, maybe Ramaphosa is a good example of that we learn of life. What do you call it? Lifelong learning.
Yes.
I mean, what is it? He just turned 70 or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he has learned this lesson now. You see what he did with Zweli? He was tiptoed for months on the digital vibe. He didn't fire Zweli. Wanted to give him what you call a dignified exit. What did Zweli do? Tried to stab him in the back for the top job. I mean, was actually unbelievable. Initially, we thought it was a joke. That despite having been saved by Ramaphosa, right, of the humiliation. Remember, I don't know if you recall, Ramaphosa had the first press conference he had to talk about Zweli. He said he's a great guy. He ran the thing well and so on. He had an opportunity there to say, if you steal, we're going to fire you. But he didn't. He created a dignified exit for Zweli, right? And then Zweli did the opposite. So now he has no time to do that.
Yeah.
He's got to fire somebody like Sisulu, like immediately. Well, of course, not now. I mean, we let them have Christmas. But the reason that he didn't fire her, after she accused him of being a liar, almost a year ago, which was around January, was that he didn't want her to use a victim formula, the Zuma victim formula. I've been fired, so, you know, and then let her now have time to go around the country campaigning. Says, no, let me keep her in her job. She must work as Minister of Tourism, no matter how bad at it she is, right? Until the conference, you know. And I think it showed on the floor of 2 days ago, where Sisulu could not muster 25% to be treasurer. And she accepted the nomination.
To be on the ballot,
You understand? So it means that she really wanted it. She wanted something to hang on to as crumbs after she failed to make the cut for president. So going back to your question, we're going to see the tone change unless Ramaphosa is hard adhering. Right? He's got to be more decisive. He's got to reshuffle his cabinet to put the good people and the strong people
in any case, there'll be
on the crisis areas.
There'll be 2 vacancies, public service and administration, which has still not been sorted out, as well as transport will become a vacancy.
And he needs a deputy, let's be honest. He needs an active deputy.
Right.
You understand? His hands are full with crisis of energy, of crime, of all these things.
JJ,
you know.
Thank you for coming through.
Okay,
thank you for engaging with me. That's JJ Tabane there. Look out for more from him throughout the day here on eNCA. Of course, you can catch him as well on Power to Truth a bit later on. That's at 8 p.m.